So our topic today is where to go birding in December. And one of the places we're going to talk about today, let's see if it's, is Basket Slough National Wildlife Refuge. Some people know this pretty well. They've been there fairly often, but we'll give you some ideas of where you can go and
Mike, unmute yourself, please.
okay, I think I just
Sorry,
did.
in the process of muting everybody else, I ended up muting you too inadvertently. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, and I think I'm unmuted now.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, Basket Slough is 10 miles west of Salem off of Highway 22, and the refuge was established in 1965 and was named for George J. Basket. He was an early settler in the Willamette Valley and a thoroughbred horse breeder. Basket Slough ranges from 185 feet in elevation to 414 feet. It consists of 2,492 acres, which was the main reason for it, as we can see in this photo, was to provide a safe wintering for waterfowl, especially geese. There's quite a few different habitats here. Cropland over 1,000 acres, 300 acres of forest, grasslands 550 acres. There's shallow water wetlands about 500 acres, and in permanent open water 35 acres. There's also quite a few different types of wildlife here, 30 species of mammals, 8 species of amphibians, 10 species of reptiles, and 260 species of birds, which we'll mostly be talking about, although we'll be touching on some of the other nature also. So here you can see on the map Basket Slough National Wildlife Refuge, and you can see these little bubbles here are the hot spots around the refuge. Quite a few hot spots, about 10 of them around the refuge. Let me go out here a little bit. So, oops. It isn't cooperating. I'm trying to enlarge this here so we can see. I'll just, here we go. Here's West Salem. So just go across a bridge if you're coming from Salem, follow 22 out 10 miles. Now, what I like to do, instead of taking and going straight out here and either going up 99 or out this direction, I like to turn up North Greenwood Road. And that's the road right here after Oak Knoll Golf Course. And you can go out there and you can just drive along this road here. There's quite a few agricultural fields out there. In fact, I'll share my other screen and we can see a little better here what I'm talking about. Make sure I get the right map. Here we go. So if we come out here, Highway 22, and here you'll see Greenwood Road right off of 22. You take a right on Greenwood, just follow this road out. I'll show you some, and as you can see, it's mostly agricultural land here. So you can see northern harriers, on the wires will be kestrels and quite a few other birds. You can just drive right along the road going north up this direction. And then once you get down here, just before you get to Farmer Road, which is one of the main roads, is this little oak canopy area here. And if you just stop here, the road isn't too busy. Pull over the side and look into this grove of oaks, acorn woodpecker, brown creeper, some nuthatches. You can get quite a bit of activity, northern flicker, downy woodpecker. So quite a few things in this little oak patch here. Next after that, I come up here and I turn left on Farmer Road and continue down Farmer Road. You can see these little bushes and trees along the way here. You'll want to look in there because a lot of times you'll have flocks of sparrows in there. The other day I saw 30 juncos. I'll get along the side of the road here, and you can see all these trees and bushes along the side of the road. So that's where you can definitely see sparrows and other birds flitting in and out of those. We'll continue down the road a little bit. Yeah, you can see all along here, there's some plowed fields. So a lot of nice habitat along this road. Oops, I'm trying to go back to, oh, I know what I have to get back out. Here we go. But okay, I got turned around here a little bit. There we go. So we're going down Farmer Road and we'll go down a bit further. And once you get down here a little further, you can see these nice fields like this. During the day, you can see a lot of things like northern harrier, while at night, it turns into a good place for short-eared owl. So some people can see, you can see short-eared owls out here. Here you can see along the road the canopies and the bushes along the road. Let me get a little further out here. There's some creeks along here too. Now, once we get right down here, there's a railroad tracks running through here. And this is one of the best places for the short-eared owls, is right in here on either side of the road near the railroad tracks. Sometimes I just stop here at dusk and just sit in my car and see somebody saw 13 short-eared owls out here just the other day. So then you go on, continue on down the road, and eventually here's a little farm. I've seen rough-legged hawk around here, red-tailed hawks around this barn here. I'm going to switch my screen here for a second. And let's go into the screen. I will be switching screens a little bit here on and off. Okay. Here we go. And it won't let me get in. No, I was trying to get into the hot spot so you could see some of the birds there, but let me try this other map and see if, oh, it isn't letting me get onto the hot spot. So we'll check those out a little later, but you can check eBird and you can see what birds are being seen in the area. Farmer Road is a major hotspot. So then once I get done with Farmer Road here, you come up to 99W and you can either go, you can either turn right or left. I like to turn left and go down to Colville Road here. Once you turn onto Colville Road, just right after you make the turn, there's a little basin here. And sometimes I've seen horned larks right here as you turn off the road. But as you continue up the road, there's some nice farmland, western meadowlarks, kestrels on the wires or on the fence lines. You can see quite a few birds along there. Here you can see sort of the shape of Basket Sioux National Wildlife Refuge. Right now we've come off Farmer Road and we're going to be going down Colville Road. And we'll come down here to the one trail, Basket Butte, and then on down here to where there's a couple parking lots where you can see over the marshes and good place, and we'll go over that. or next we'll come up here, turn right, come around to Smithfield Road, come around and come around Smithfield Road to the Morgan parking lot, and then we'll go out Livermore Road. So that's sort of the trip we're taking there. I'll go to my other screen. So, okay, we've gone down Farmer Road. We'll take a left and come down here a little ways. I'll get it to the, and then here we come, we take a right turn on Coville Road and follow it down. See if I can get into, see how good this. So right here is a little gully, and sometimes right along the edge here is where you can see horned larks. Then we start getting into some fields. There's some telephone poles up here near the residences where kestrels are on them, and you can see meadowlarks. Go around the corner, check out these areas here with the trees on the edge of the road. Here's along this nice little pull out here. Now, the bad thing now is that you can't walk out in some of these places. It's closed from October 1st until April 30th, to March 30th, some of them. But around this area, you can see California quail, sometimes ringneck pheasant. We'll continue out the road. But look all through these fields for different hawks. Could see rough-legged hawk. And then here we come to the parking lot of the rich Goddagno Memorial Loop and Trail. You can park here. This is open year round, and you can walk up the trail here. I believe it's probably a half a mile or so. It's a loop trail. This is, there's also a restroom here located here, which is nice. You can see here, you can walk up the trail. And then you can go up, keep continuing up this way to go around a loop trail, or go up this way and cut back up here. And there's a platform up here. You can see the platform right there. Okay. And we'll back out a little bit. And here's, if you go up this way, take the loop around, you'll see it go through, and it'll go through a bunch of trees and around, and then you'll take the loop around here and cut back this way, and you'll come back around and meet up with the loop here and come right back down to the main trail. But there's a lot of things here up in these trees. You can see nuthatches, woodpeckers, and Tim, do you have any other things that you can add? Tim takes this quite often, that you can add of what you could see up here.
Well, in the spring, we get in our Cassin's vireos, and they do nest there. We've often seen their nests. They'll be close to the road, as well as some of the thrushes will be nesting there. It's a nice, reliable place to find Cassin's vireos.
Let's see if I've gotten back to my. For some reason, I've lost the presentation here. Here we go. I'll get back to. For some reason, I'm not able to bring up it in slide. Okay, well, hopefully you can still see the screen.
Yeah, we could still see it, Mike.
Okay. For some reason, I can't go into slideshow mode. But let's continue down. So our first stop along the Greenwood and Farmer Road, there were 164 checklists and 140 species seen throughout the year, and in December, 69 species on Farmer Road. Here are some of the birds that you can see on Farmer Road and Greenwood Road. Our next stop, we talked about Coville Road and went down there. Here's some of the things you can see there. 64 species during December. So bald eagle, you can see 2 snow geese. Peregrine falcon would be another one. We just talked about the rich Goddagno Memorial Trail. 155 species, quite a few species been seen there, and 69 during the winter. But up there also you can see western screech owl, western bluebird. Not long ago, Luce's woodpecker was seen there. Of course, both ruby and golden crown kinglets. Now let's go on to our next stop, Cottonwood Pond. So let's go back to the map here. So Cottonwood Pond, we've gone down here, and here's the Rich Goddagno Trail, and right here is where the pond is. You'll see a large parking lot or a little parking area on the side, both sides of the road, and you can look at the marshes either way. Quite a few checklists. A lot of people go here. 168 because it's nice parking, and you can pull off easily. Probably hold 7 to 8 cars. 73 species. Of course, there's lots of ducks here. 13 different species have been seen here. When the water is lower, earlier in the winter and late fall, you can see shorebirds, dowitchers, yellowlegs. You can also see sparrows, Wilson snipe. Here we see a nice black phoebe out here hanging over near the pond. So it's always nice seeing those birds. I'm going to try to bring up the map again so we can, okay. So here we were, Basket Beat. We just continued down Coville Road, took the turn here. There's another pull out right here overlooking the marshes, is way out over here, but you can see over that, and sometimes you can see hawks or coyotes in this field. And here's the area I was talking about where there's a pull off on each side of the road. This isn't a very good picture, but here's the marsh, Cottonwood Pond. There's also a marsh on the other side of the road. During the summer and spring, on the wires that go across here, you can see lots of swallows and also yellow-headed blackbirds in here, and lots of red-winged blackbirds hanging out in here. But that's the area there that we're talking about. But lots of ducks in here, geese. Can see egrets. Taking a big overview. Here we were at Basket Butte in the parking lot here. And so here's that first turnout. The next one, you can just continue along here. Seen bald eagle and red-tailed hawk out here. This field right here sometimes has 5,000 to 10,000 geese in the field here. Next, we'll just continue up Coville Road. And just before you reach the highway here, instead of going out towards 22, you'll make a right turn onto Smithfield Road. We'll turn right and continue down and then take another right in front of Madura Farms here. And this is Smithfield Road, and we'll follow that around. Look right through here, this group of trees. Sometimes you can see sparrows and other birds right through here. And at this point, we'll switch back over. And now, here we are, Smithfield Road, 153 checklists seen here, 133 species, 79 in December. Of course, red-tailed hawk, northern shrike, burrowing owl seen out in this area. Prairie falcon, unusual bird, but has been seen out here. So then we'll come back around and continue our little trip down Smithfield Road. Go by a residence here. The road takes a turn. Now right up here, when you hit this turn, there's a little pull out here, and you can look over the fields and you can even see the ponds from here, and another, some water out here. So good place to look for hawks and other birds of prey. See if we can hone in on that. There you can see, and you can see out here, here's one of the ponds that ponds up in another one of the marshes. Sometimes this has water down here during the winter, but it's a good place to pull off and take a look. We'll continue down Smithfield Road. Now, right down in here during the summer and stuff, you can see turkey vultures. I've seen right in this area here of this barn, 17 turkey vultures just all along here. But we're mainly talking December. You won't see them likely here. And continue down. Yeah, here's where the turkey vultures like to hang out too. Then we'll come up here and we'll take a turn to wineries right up ahead of us. So we'll take a bigger view here. Here's Duser Vineyards. We're still on Smithfield Road, taking a right turn on Smithfield Road. This pond right here is a private pond, but always stop here and take a look in this pond. We've seen hooded mergansers, quite a few different kinds of ducks in there. So it's always good to scope that out and check it. It's pretty easy to see just with your binoculars. Then as we take the turn down Smithfield Road and continue down, right along these fields, there's a lot of swallow boxes. You can see hawks down here. I've seen rough-legged hawks in here, in this area. We'll continue down, and then we get to what we call the Morgan Lake Trail parking lot. This is a nice little parking lot here. I always stop here when I come out to the refuge. A lot of people spread feed right in here, and a lot of birds are drawn right into this area here. Spotted towhee, lots of sparrows, juncos, golden crown sparrow, white crown sparrows. So now we'll go back to the So now we're talking about the Morgan Lake parking lot. I believe it or not, I didn't find any hotspot information on this hotspot, but like we say, towhee, golden crown sparrow, song sparrow, brewer's blackbirds. This is the place where you would take the road, the trail right here up to Morgan Lake. which is a great place during the summer and early fall for a lot of different birds up here, rare birds that come in. You can come up here and get a scope and see a lot of different shorebirds and some fairly rare ones. Also, as long as it isn't too wet, you can walk through these fields down to this other marsh right down here. And you can see the Thoughty Marsh. So once I get done with this parking lot here, then we get to what's been the real popular place. Also, while you're here at the parking lot, take a look at these trees too. You can see some rare birds in here and woodpeckers and nuthatches. I believe this might have been where the American tree sparrow was seen, right? Someplace right in this area too, which is a rare eastern bird that's been seen here just in recent days. But after getting done here, then I go down Livermore Road, which is a great road during the winter. Let's take a look and see what we'll see there. I'll see if I can get this. Okay, here we go, Livermore Road. As you see, there's quite a few checklists here. 89 species seen here in December, so it's the best place on the refuge for seeing species, but definitely the horned lark. Just the other day, Tim saw 20 horned larks just right along the road. Once it gets wet and there's little puddles along the edge of roads, you'll see some of the birds come right out onto the road. There's been a Lapland longspur seen along there. Of course, red-tailed hawk, northern harrier, in the fields, American pipit. Western meadowlarks would be another bird you could see out here. But I just love this place for being able to see. It's one of the best places for horned larks that I know of. And let's just take a little trip up the road. So from the parking lot, we just head north on Livermore Road and just keep following it around. You can see some marshland on the side. But when you get to these blank fields here with, they're really cut short, just with a little stubble and stuff, look in those fields and stuff for the horned larks. You can see woodpeckers and maybe a bald eagle and hawks along here. And I'll bring it out a little bit and just continue along the road here. Here's some plowed fields that are good for different ground birds. You can see pipits out in the field. Always check along these tree lines.
Mike, can you stop there just a minute?
Yes.
Just south of there, where you are now, right there, in that shrubby area there, that's where the white-throated sparrow is. I mean, the American tree sparrow is.
Okay.
And they've got people have. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a little further up than that. I'm sorry, it's a little further up than that.
So I'll just go slow here and we're just continuing up the road. As you can see, a lot of agricultural land. But look for kestrels and hawks, and kestrels sometimes will be
That's
right.
the spot right there.
Okay.
That's where the tree sparrow is being seen, and that little clump right there.
So yeah, that's a nice find out there that's a rare bird for here. Then you just continue down the road, and now we're starting to get in some of the good areas for the horned lark too here in these fields. And there are some ponds back here off the road and stuff that you can see sometimes have some ducks, and can see some rare things there. Also, along some of these driveways to the farms are little nice patches of trees and shrubs that you can see. And like Tim says, check out those shrubs and trees. That's where the rarities like to sort of hide out. But we're just continuing down Livermore Road. And so once you get down here by the farmland, most of the horned larks, I don't see too many this far up. Normally they're back a little further, more sort of in this area here is a good place for the horned larks, right here before you get to this one farm. Then once you get up here, you'll come to the main road, Bethel Road. You can either turn right here and go back to 99W, or you can turn left and go down Bethel Road to a little town of Prairie Dale. Sometimes I'll come this way, and here at the intersection, take a left on Amity, the Dallas Road, and come down here. We're traveling south now. And we'll come down a little further. Once we get down here, if I see, here we go. No, that's the farm. There's a road right down here that we can go down. Maybe if I go to the map here, I'll be able to see it a little easier. But there should be a road off to the left here that you can go down off of Prairie Dale Road. And so far, I don't think it's down this far, but interesting. Oh, let's see here if this is it. But anyway, there's a road here, and you can turn left from Perrydale and go down this road. There's a pond right up at the beginning of the road, if this is the correct road. And I don't see the pond there, but there's a road that you can take, and will take you all the way through to back to Smithfield Road. Obviously, that is not the road. Or the other thing you can do is just continue back around. Here it is, called Myers Road. And here's a little reservoir I was talking about. So you can get out here and scope down here. We've seen grebes and some other interesting birds once in a while there. But you can go down Myers Road, and it will take you back down to Smithfield Road. And I usually come back this way and retrace my steps past Missouri Farms. Then I come out here to Highway 22 again, take a left going towards Salem, and then you can come out here to the Highway 22 overlook, which is located right here. So now off the overlook, oops, I'm a little too far. Here we go, last stop for refuge, Highway 22 overlook, 101 species, 53 species, but this is where you can see your geese. Common ravens have been seen there. Ross's goose once in a while. The more common one is the snow goose, but it's Ross's goose and common gold eye, gray or white fronted geese. Cedar Ross's goose here. But it's good for a lot of things. And about 5 years ago, looking over this overlook is where Tim and I saw Hudsonian godwit. So, and during the summer, this is where you can see like the black-necked stilt. Once in a while, you can see a American avocet, for example, and some other birds. So it's a good place to take a look at. So let's get back to. So then here's a closer look at the overlook. You can see the parking lot, and here's a blind, a little kiosk here that you can look over. During certain times of year, there's quite a bit of water down in here. There's some permanent water down in here usually. This is going towards Salem, but you can just look here. It's nice to have a scope here when you're there. You know, sometimes the birds can be in the distance here. And so that sort of sums up Basket Slough National Wildlife Refuge.
Mike, there was a question about the gyrfalcon, where to find the gyrfalcon that's being seen lately.
Oh, good question. I'm not positive where the gyrfalcon has been seen. Do you?
Well, I saw yesterday about a half a mile south of Bethel on Smithfield Road,
Okay.
off to the east. It was eating on a goose that it had killed, but it gets around. So it's hard to tell where it's going to be. All those roads you were just showing, Bethel and then Perrydale, and that area is where it seems to be hunting. And the best probably strategy, if you're going to go look for it, is to drive Livermore and then go up to Prairie and just take Prairie like 5 miles out. There's a grain elevator out on Prairie. If you keep, I say Prairie, Perry Road, if you keep Perrydale, not Prairiedale, if you keep driving out there, you'll see a grain elevator, and then finally you'll run into, you'll be on gravel road at that time. So it's been seen all over there, but wherever there's a lot of people looking for it right now. And so just look for parked cars, and then just ask people what they're seeing. And all those birders are very friendly, and they're more than happy to share with you what they're seeing, or when they see where the gyrfalcon is being seen. Most of them are sharing the same information and have pretty good clue on it, but it varies from day to day.
And so here's where Tim's talking about. Here's Livermore Road. You take a right on Bethel Road and come down here, and there's a grain elevator and things in here. Let's see if we can actually see that.
But it's the other way, Mike. If you go west on Bethel, eventually it turns into Perrydale, and then just
there we go.
Yeah, it keeps the Perrydale west, and then just keep going.
Okay.
There's a nice pond you just went by that has a lot of nice ducks on it if you want to stop there for a diversion. Turner Road, it's called the Turner Pond. But
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's the farthest you probably want to go, is to that Dijon. It has been seen further past Dijon, but for the most part, and unfortunately you can't see that pond from the road, but most of its feeding has been, well, it's been on Smithfield a lot lately, but people do see it out on Prairiedale all the way to Dijon and sometimes beyond.
Okay. So let's continue on. And so now further afield, going to talk a little about another good place in the winter, and that's the Oregon coast. Both Marines, Hatfield Marine Science Center and Quina Bay to South Jetty. Tim and I have been over a couple of times, and it's really a great place. So here's some of the things that you could see. As you can see, just lots of checklists, over 3,500 and almost 250 species and 142 species seen in December. Tim and I saw marbled godwit. There can be loons. Brant is a very good one to see. This bird right here. Here's the the marbled godwit. Wimbro we saw. They have hugely long bills. Of course, shorebirds and gulls. Once in a while, palm warbler is reported there. And we'll show you how to get to these places here in just a second. Then the Quina Bay South Jetty. What I have it broken into, there's both the Southeast Jetty Way. They have two hotspot lists here. One is called Southeast Jetty Way. That's the first one here, 2,800 checklist. And then further out, when you get down to the parking lot, which we'll show you in a little bit, and you go out on the actual jetty, they have 663 checklists there. But quite a few species seen out that way. Red-breasted merganser, redneck grebe, harlequin duck are all good ones. Off to the left of the jetty, you can see there's some fields where South Beach State Park starts. There's some trails there that you can go off road and walk along there, and you might see Lapland longspur. Of course, the scotters are out there on the water too. See surf scotters a lot there. So I'll bring up the map. And let's see here. I'll bring it down quite a ways so we can go out to the Oregon coast. So here we just drive out and drive down the Oregon coast here. Here's where we come into Lincoln City is right here. Drive through Lincoln City. There we go, we can see it. And then on down the Oregon coast. There's a lot of places, and I'll have a Oregon coast birding seminar here where we'll get into a lot of these different spots, but there's a place to stop right here and look over Slet's Bay. Depending on the time, whether the tide's in or out, you can look out here and see shorebirds and other birds. You can continue on down the highway. We get down to Salishan. Here's Salishan's right in here. There used to be this shopping center right here. If you park in the shopping center, you can walk right across here to the Estuary Trail and walk out here is another spot. Then we continue south on 101. Of course, it's always nice to stop in Deepo Bay along the bayfront there. And we'll continue on down. Boiler Bay is another great spot to stop. And then we come right through Deepo Bay. Of course, you can park any place along here and look along the edges. See like the oyster catchers and birds like that along the ledge. You continue on down the coast. And I'm skipping quite a few spots here, but we'll go into them a little more depth and actually give you the addresses of how to get there. Then once we make our way down to Newport, we're almost there. And then we'll slow the map down so people can, so okay, we're coming into Newport. Oh, come out a little bit. We're just going past the Fred Meyer store, Newport. Here we're crossing the Quina Bay bridge. So just as you cross the bridge here going southbound, there's a little exit here, roundabout. You take this, follow it around here, and this will take you back to the Marine Science Drive. You go way past the center. There's a circle right here, and keep going past that into the back parking lot out here. In fact, if I click on this, we'll see, and here's the public parking behind, and here's the Science Center here in the main entrance. You park here, and here starts what we call the Estuary Trail. So you can just hike right along here, go along this entire trail here. There's a little gazebo or covering right in about here. You can continue around. You'll go over a little bridge that we saw in an earlier photo. And here's the Coast Aquarium, but you end up about here, and then you can just come back here. So now let's take a look at that. The satellite view of what we're talking about. Here we are at the parking lot. So here we enter, here's the parking lot, and we enter here, here's the trail coming around. And you can just follow it around. Here you can see this is where some of the shorebirds, here we go. Here's the trail coming around. From the parking lot, you walk over to your right, and the trail entrance is right here. You can also look over here that this has some water, and this is a bay here, and you can see birds over there too. But you travel down this trail. See if I can get a little, won't get any larger for me. But you can see the trail right here and walk along the trail. And this is all shoreline along here, so you can check all along there. Check these trees too along the edges. And you just follow it around. And here you can see all the edges, and a lot of times the marbled merlets, or godwits, I'm sorry, marbled godwits, we saw right in here about 80 of them. You can continue on. This is a real good tree part here that you can look in these bunches of trees here and here. Barbara and I, we saw a great catbird in here one time. Continue, and here's that sort of bridge that goes across. Then once you get up here, the trail sort of ends, but there can be lots of birds up here and all along this trail. But this is all the Estuary Trail. It's a nice, fairly flat walk, and it's pretty level for the most part. So then once we get done there, we come out of the parking lot, come back to the circle, and come back down Marine Science Drive. Continue, takes a turn. Here's the Road Brewery, a pretty good place for lunch if you want to stop there. You go under the highway, and then there's a little turn here off to Southwest Jetty Way. There's also restrooms, a little parking lot here and restrooms if you need to stop for a restroom. Turn right here and follow Southwest Jetty Way down. Now, as you're coming down here, you'll want to stop fairly often and look out over here over the jetty in Quina Bay. This is where we see the mergansers and the surf scotters and the grebes, redneck grebes, and harlequin ducks are along here. But you can see quite a few different birds out here on the water. Once you get down here, there's a big parking lot here. You You can park here and get out of your car and look around. Lots of gulls in the parking lot. If you want to study your gulls, that's a good place. People are feeding them there, and you can see all the different gulls. Also, you can park here, and there's a little trail that goes back to South Beach State Park, but you can cut off some of these trails here. They're a little more primitive, but they're very good trails to walk down in these areas. Like if you walk off along here, and you'll walk through some grasslands and just follow some of the trails around. This is where you can see long spurs or some other grassland birds. Then you go down further, there's toilets down here. You can park here if you want to walk out and further along the jetty. We'll come out here and you can see where it goes into the ocean. See a boat coming here. You can see where the ocean comes right up next to where you walk down into here. But yeah, all along here is a great place to go birding. And if you go to South Beach State Park and go to the public part of the park, the day use area here, there's a trail here and you can come out to the beach, and sometimes this is where we see sanderlings and other birds up here in the sand. Tim, you've been to the coast a lot, I know. Do you have anything to add of the things that people can see here, or anything else to add?
One of the highlights along that area you're showing right there, Mike, from the South Beach State Park, you hike up over the dunes, and we have a colony of year-round snowy plovers, which are threatened species and are somewhat protected in that area. They do breed there and they spend the winter there. So it's a good place, one of the more reliable places on the Oregon coast to find the colony of snowy plovers.
Right along here.
Yeah, and also, so you got to go looking for them sometimes, but they tend to hang together. And so you just walk north or south looking for them, and usually you can find them. And then there's also hundreds of sanderlings that you can find down on the beach this time of year, as well as black-bellied plovers sometimes show up, or some of the other shorebirds you can find down there. It's kind of a fun area to go to.
And most likely the sanderlings you'd see running along the edge of the waves here. And so look at those along the waves there for the sanderlings.
And then sometimes, yeah, the sanderlings will be down on the coast. The snowy plovers tend to come up into the drier snow,
Right,
up into the drier sand. And that's where you'll find the Lapland longspurs too, up there in that drier sand. The Lapland longspurs tend to be right at the edge of the grass on the sand. And if it's windy, which it is about 95% of the time, they will be down in little divots in the sand to protect them from the wind. So you got to kind of look for them, make sure you don't step on them.
Okay. Then we're going to finish up here. Our rare bird of the month is the swamp sparrow. A medium-sized sparrow. You can see a pretty gray face. Breeding, it has a rufous cap and rich rufous here along the wings and upper parts. Generally reddish brown back, streaked, and has a black stripe going through the eye here, eye stripe. It really likes wet areas, and they have thick vegetation. They like to stay under cover, but we mainly see these in the winter. One's been reported, I believe, out by Ankeny, out by Eagle Marsh or in that area, but keep your eye out for the swamp sparrow, which are always neat to see. I'll finish up on a little conservation note, especially since we've been talking about basket slough, because here we have the horned lark, which is threatened. And then we have the Kincaid's lupin here. Both of those are threatened species out there. And something that the Basket Slough is really known for, especially around Basket Butte, is the Fender's blue butterfly here, which is endangered, and the Willamette daisy. Both of those are threatened. So recently, the refuge has increased their efforts to restore and expand the riparian and wetland prairie habitat, and the oak savanna on the refuge really supports the largest population of surviving Fender's butterflies, which feed on the threatened Kincaid lupin here. So if they don't have the lupin and the correct habitat, we won't have the Fender's blue butterfly. So that's our conservation tip for the day. And our upcoming webinars coming on Saturday, December 5th. We have our Raptor ID class, $10. We'll get quite a few handouts for it. And then I'm sorry that our ducks, geese, and swans got canceled in early November. I came down ill, but we're going to have it again in January on the 10th. People that register for that class should be getting a refund on it. Then we have the Raptor ID class coming up again because it's so popular. And then late January, we'll have Exploring Kaiser Rapids Park and other birding hotspots in the Kaiser area, like the Willow Lake water treatment plant and a couple other county parks around there. So with that, let's open it up to any questions anybody might have.
Okay, so I allowed all you to unmute now if you want to ask your questions with your mic or just type them into the chat box. I think you've answered the questions that I've seen in the chat box, and most of them were regarding Smithfield Road and the birds that are being seen there these days. So feel free to use the chat box now if you want, or just to open your mic up and ask your question.
What months are good for snowy plover at the coast?
Yeah, so snowy plovers are year-round on the coast. And the best place to see them, as I said, there's at South Beach State Park up over the dune, and then just look for them in the soft sand.
And so I'm going to use eBird here, and I'll look up here eBird and see if I can see if there's a peak at any particular time. But like Tim said, they're year around. So
yeah, I don't think our population migrates. They breed there, they nest there, right there in that South Beach area, and they spend the winter there. It doesn't seem they're migrating at all. So that's a good place to find them, and it's a pretty good sized colony. I think there's probably 30 or 40 of them, and they tend to all be together. And boy, I've been down there when you couldn't get away from them. They're just flying all around us. So that was kind of cool. They're the cutest birds that you could possibly put your binoculars on, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, any other questions?
How do you time your walk along Yakina Bay with the tides?
So just look for the tide charts. Use your browser to do tide chart for Quina Bay.
But do you want it like midway or high or low?
Mid tide is best.
Mid tide.
So either mid coming in or going out. If it's low tide, the tide is so low, the water is so low that the birds tend to be so far out, they're hard to even see with the scope. And if the tide is high, then it brings the water all the way to the path. And so there's no place for them. So mid tide is probably the best. And I like incoming tides. So getting there, maybe 2 hours after low. So it's 6 hours to swing, right? From high to low is 6 hours. So get there about 2 hours after the lull. So the tide's coming in and it's bringing the birds in to you. And that's kind of a good thing. And then when it gets up to about an hour before high, then it's so high you can't really see them very well anymore.
Oh, interesting. I did just check eBird for South Beach State Park, and black turnstone's been seen there, surfbird, sanderling, so some nice birds being seen down there at the park.
Joanne figured out how to raise her hand.
Oh, right. That was my question about the tides.
Okay, thank you.
I'll put it down again.
Okay. Very good. Kathy's got her hand up.
So in the winter, what is the best time of day to bird? Because too early, they're not out yet either.
I would say the best time of the day. They're out, they live there, so they're going to be out there no matter when you go. But the winds tend to pick up in the afternoon on the coast. So the mornings, and it's always windy on the coast. I was in the Coast Guard there for a few years, and we had our wind warning signs up. So it was somewhere between usually small craft and whole gale. And I don't think we ever took the small craft warning down. It's pretty much windy on the coast any time of year, but the mornings tend to be best for avoiding the winds.
And what about a basket slough?
Let's say
It's
pretty
more
much.
dependent on the winter, on the weather, I think, than the time of day.
Yeah, because it can be pretty much good out there anytime. I was surprised to see that somebody saw the short-eared owls. Normally it's at dusk that they see them, but somebody saw them at 1:45 in the afternoon.
Yeah, so they roost on the ground. So if you get lucky, you'll see them on the ground, but they tend to be in grasses where you can't really see them.
Right. But
But if you're going to see them during the day, it's not going to be flying. Usually it's going to be on the ground in some clump of grass.
so I was just checking here the observations. Okay, here we go. Snowy plover. Now seeing if there's any different here we go, I'm getting closer. So it looks like for the snowy plover, December and January are two of the best times to see them, December and January. But like Tim says, they're there year round. You'll probably see them any time of year you go. But according to eBird, they're being reported a little more often, maybe because people are going over there more often to look for them. Okay, any other questions?
I don't see any other hands up.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for attending and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. And hopefully we'll see you for one of the other webinars that we'll have here soon.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
I'll go ahead and end it.